Hello, I'm Diego Grant. I'm a PhD student from the University of Corsica, and I will talk you about challenges of transfer learning in wind speed forecasting and how to understand the negative transfer effect. So, why we need to forecast the wind speed? We need to forecast the wind speed for three main axes. The first is renewable energy management to optimize the wind turbine operation and the power generation, to improve the energy scheduling and the grid stability, and to reduce the maintenance cost by predicting the extreme wind events. The second axe is power system stability, to ensure the balance between the power supply and the demand, to prevent the blackout or the power fluctuation, and to support the integration of intermittent renewable sources. And the last is the safety and planning, to improve the navigation and aviation safety, to predict hazardous weather conditions, and to support the emergency response and the risk management. Well, what do we need to forecast with machine learning? We need data, and two types of data. The first is the historical data, with wind speed and the direction measurements. We can add weather variables like temperature, pressure, humidity, etc. And if we predict on the turbine site, we can have turbine operational data with the power output and the rotor speed. And additionally to that, we can add external features like geographic and topographic information, the time-related factor, like season, hour, day of week, day of month, etc. Because we have a time series problem. And we can add meteorological forecast from numerical weather prediction model, satellite data, and radar data. But these data have some major problems. The first is the data availability. We have sometimes limited access to high resolution wind and weather data. We are missing or incomplete measurement from sensor and station. And when we have a new station on a site, we don't have any record, so we have a problem of the side of the story. We have the data quality problem. The signal is sometimes noisy or corrupt from the turbine and the sensor. We have an inconsistent sampling rate and a calibration error. The inconsistent sampling rate is more a time series general problem and not for only the forecasting problem. And we have outlier and hybrid variation due to the equipment fault. And the last is the data integration. We have many sources of information, like from weather station, satellite images, numerical weather prediction model, and Ausville data form a data set that is heterogeneous, and we have difficulty to align the temporal and the spatial data. So, what is the solution about the data problem? For the data availability, we can create new fictive data with a data augmentation strategy. We can mask when the data is not available. In deep learning, we can say to the model, don't take the feature which isn't available and take it when it's available. For the data quality problem, we can denoise the signal, use interpolation or statistical treatment. Many pipeline of pre-processing do that. And for the data integration, we not act on the data, but we act on the model with a hybrid architecture. We have one branch for one heterogeneous data. For example, if we have satellite images and historical data, we have one branch for the image and one branch for the historical data. All branch make a high representation vector, and we merge it and we into an input of a third model. But this solution doesn't solve the short historical problem. If we have a new site, we can't create new fictive data, we can't mask, we can't denoise, we can do nothing, but we can use the transfer learning. The transfer learning is a machine learning technique in which knowledge gain while solving one task is reused or adapted to improve the performance on the different but related tasks. Suppose you have a problem of historical record that is not enough available, but you have a lot of data on another station. This is represented by the figure here. And you have the first data set from an history from 2023 to 2025, and the second data set with a lot of data starting 2010 to 2025. We want to use this big data set to improve the performance of the model linked to this dataset. So, in practice, we have two models, the first, the A model, and the second model, the B model. We initialize the first model with initialization law, like GLOROT uniform, and we fit this model with the A dataset, so the big dataset, and after that, we have A model with the A model fit on the A distribution, and we can transfer the parameter to the B model. And now, if we infer the B model with the B distribution, with the B dataset, it doesn't work because B is equal to A, actually, and B can just infer on the A distribution because it's not adapted to the B dataset. So to adapt the B model to the B dataset, we need to fine-tune the model to adapt the distribution. And finally, after that, we can say the model B benefits from the learning of A through transfer, which is adapted to the dataset thanks to the fine-tuning. But we're back to basic. In machine learning, the training, the validation, and the test set should come from the same data distribution, and this ensures that the model learns general pattern and not data-specific noise. However, for the time series, things are a little different. The data are time-dependent. The past observation influence the future. The distribution can change over time. We have trends, seasonality, events. For example, if we take a series from 1950 to 1951, it's not the same than now. And we can't just random shuffle the dataset because we break the temporal structure, and we can create the data leakage. The data leakage is the future information in the past. And it's the same in transfer learning. In transfer learning, we assume that the source and the target domains are related. They share some underlying structure or representation, and if their data are too different, the transfer becomes ineffective or harmful. And what happens? The model transfers the wrong or the irrelevant knowledge from the source domain, and this is called a drop of performance instead of an improvement. So when we are applying transfer learning, if the model performance on the target task decreases compared to the training from scratch, this phenomenon is called negative transfer. We take an example on negative transfer. We have 22 stations with 9 years of history in Corsica from Météo France. And we fix the test set to 2023 and the val set to 2022. And for the train, it varies. It ends in 2021 and the start depending on the experimentation. We can just move this cursor, and we can take an history from 2015 to 2021, or we can just take the 2021 year. We have 3 ways to choose the source. The first is the state-of-art selection with the nearest neighbor. We have the second is the topographic classification. We have separated the station into 2 categories, plain and mountain. And a station in mountain can transfer to another model in mountain, and a plane can transfer to a plane. For the last way, we have split the dataset into 4 categories in function of the dominance of the wind dominance, and the bicolored stations are in 2 categories because the dominance of wind is between 2 categories. We have 5 deep learning architecture. The first is attention. The second is recurrent neural model represented by the SSTM. We have 2 hybrid architecture, CNN and multilayer perceptron, and CNN plus LSTM, and the last is the multilayer perceptron. When we observe the result of the experimentation, the skill score are always negative. And the results show that it's better to use a model initialized with random weights rather than fine-tuning a model with pre-trained weights. So, why this result? We assume that the distribution was statistically similar because we directly perform the transfer, learning, and the fine-tuning. And during the fine-tuning, our model have to unlearn the wrong patterns and learn the new one related to the correct distribution. The unlearning process is caused to model loss performance. At your right, the figure is the Kolmogorov-Smirnov statistical test. In axis, we have station, and the Kolmogorov-Smirnov test represents the distance between two distributions. So the heat map indicates that when it's red, you have a large difference between the two distributions of stations. As you can see, the figure is colored in red. So, how to avoid the negative transfer to prevent the model from transfer irrelevant or misleading knowledge from the source domain to the target domain? We have in the literature the meta-learning, it's called learning to learn, and the multi-source transfer learning. For the meta-learning, it aims to train the model that can adapt rapidly to new tasks using only a small amount of data. Instead of learning a single task, the model learns how to learn efficiently across many tasks. And the core idea behind this is in machine learning, we learn parameters for one specific task, and in meta-learning, we learn meta-parameters that make adaptation to the new task faster and more stable. We have many approaches to do the meta-learning. The most famous is the model-agnostic meta-learning. It optimizes for parameters that need only a few gradient steps to adapt. And we have the approach of the metric method, the optimization method, and we have many advantages for the meta-learning. It have an high adaptability to ANSYS distribution. It can reduce the risk of the negative transfer by focusing on the transferable knowledge, and it's useful for few-shot and continual learning. The meta-learning builds a model that generalizes not only across data, but across the task, and enabling fast adaptation and resilience to shift. For the multi-source transfer learning, we use knowledge from several sources domain instead just of one, and we improve the new target domain. The motivation behind the multi-source transfer learning is that a single source may not represent all aspects of target, and by combining multi-sources, we increase the coverage and reduce the bias from any one dataset. We have many methods to do that. The first is source weighting. We assign a higher importance to a domain that are statistically similar to the target. We have the feature alignment. We align the latent representation across the sources and the target, and we have the domain generalization. We train on multiple domains to learn the domain invariant feature. The advantages of that is it's more robust to the distribution shift. It reduces the dependency on a single possibility unrepresentative source, and it supports better generalization in dynamic or heterogeneous environment. To conclude, the transfer learning is not always beneficial because sometimes we have a phenomenon of negative transfer and it can degrade the performance. The fine-tuning a pre-trained model on a different wind station can lead to loss relevant pattern, and model must adapt to the distribution changes over the time and across the location. And the main cause of a negative transfer is a mismatch between the source and the target data distribution, an insufficient adaptation during the fine-tuning phase, or an overconfidence in transfer without the statistical validation. And the solution to avoid the negative transfer effect is to use the meta-learning, the multi-source transfer learning, or to develop robust domain adaptation. Thank you. If you have any question about negative transfer.